Hi folks, welcome back to Recycling Model Railways. I'm Paul. So, you've seen the picture, so you know you're going to get asked lots of questions. So this is all about me beginning the timber yard out of all the scrap bits that I've got. So let's get on and take a look and see what it is I want to know from you. Let's get the important bit over first. I'm going to run you through where I've got done so far and sort of where I'm going to go. But let's discuss the track plan that I'm going to throw up on the screen now. So, for anyone that is interested, this is SCART that I've used for this. And you, if you pay the license fee, have the ability to print out 1:1 scale, which is exactly what I've done on the picture you're looking at. So, I have a certain amount of wagons, some of which you've seen before that I got in when I was visiting a show somewhere. I bought a few wagons with timber loads sitting on top of them. And I realised that the majority of them were the chassis from brake vans. And I have a lot of chassis from brake vans. So I've decided that I'm going to, I already have pulled them ones out. And I'm going to make up quite a few trailers with loads on. Make it look realistic. But as the plan looks at you right now, as you're seeing on the screen, I need all of that track work to be able to put all of the trailers and the engine on. So you can see in the bottom right hand corner that we've got the loco shed. But, and here's my problem, am I letting my need to have ever so many trailers take over what I'm doing here? Because if you look on the bottom, you'll see that you come in on point 1 and then there's another one immediately after at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to call this bottom rail at the very bottom line 4. If I take that out, I can move this whole thing further over, which means that this diorama, if you like, will not take up as much space as it currently will. Because at the moment, this thing, I haven't measured it, it's a scrap piece of wood, is probably getting on for 3 to 4 foot long. And if I cut it at what I would need right now, I'm probably heading towards 2 feet wide. And I only wanted the whole, like one side of the layout to be about 3. So, your opinions, folks. Should I take out line 4? Or should I leave line 4? Or can you think of a better way of me doing this to get what I need? Any of that would be very helpful. Very helpful. So, let's now have a look at what I have managed to get done in the little time that I've had available to me. So, we're going to start with one of the buildings. Let's start with this. So, for those of you that watched the introduction where I said I was going to try and build all this out of scrap, this was that horrible American-looking yellow and red building. And I think I'm getting somewhere with it. So, what have we done? We've left the basic design the same. I've clad it in card, Metcalf card. We've put a chimney on. I've replaced windows, as you can see, at the front. We've cut down what was at the back, and there's absolutely nothing on either side. So it's still waiting to be glazed. It's still waiting for its roof. And this is kind of going to be the office. So these two windows here will be whited out from behind with the company name on it. And then we've got to weather it because at the moment it looks brand new. Apart from where I've made mistakes with the glue. So you see the white spots near my finger. There's quite a few of them. But I have got some pens. Now, as some of you know, my daughter is quite the artist. And I asked her what could I get to help me with things like this. So she found these called Spectra. I think she got them from Hobbycraft. And it is literally from white to black with grey, and majority of it is a form of grey. So these are going to help massively in trying to figure that out. And obviously I'm planning on doing all of the buildings in the same grey. So these are going to come in massively with covering up any mistakes. I can choose the colour, etc, etc. So Hobbycraft. And they've got a fan end and they have a wide end, so they're really good. So those are going to help with the buildings. I hope you all think that that looks a lot better than it used to. I have got some proper tiling to go on the top. On the subject of helping with colouring in, I've got this. So if I open it up, this one came from Amazon. Every colour under the sun. Didn't come this neatly organised. That was our Isabel, the artist, who just couldn't stand it all being the wrong way. But again, we've got various colours to cover any eventuality while I'm doing card building and what have you in the future. And she's done a nice little swatch card for me so that I can, put it against a model and figure it out. So I can't remember what this was. It wasn't ridiculously expensive, and for what I think I got 100 pens, and I thought it was pretty good value for the money. So this, done absolutely nothing with it, as you can see. I have got some fairly major plans for this. I don't like that the floor is so high. I worked in I actually ran a timber yard for years. This would be ground level, not like however many feet in the air. So this might not even get used in the end. Or I might just adapt it massively. So far, nothing. Unfortunately. Right. These things here were in the scrap pile. Those two there. So this is going to become a driver's office, i.e. when you're going out, when you're coming in. And this will just be like a little bait cabin for the lads who work there. We used to have one when I was at the timber factory. So they are nearly done. They need windows and they need some interiors. But all in all, I've got a label printed out for that. I'll show you those in a little bit. So there were the easy things. And then I got these from, I think it was part of a job lot off eBay. The plan is to attach them together so they look like one building. All I have done so far is took out the crappy bits and pieces that are on it. We've installed roller shutters on both, and as you can see, green will be the colour of windows and doors and things. And then I've given them, well, on this one, if you look underneath, wood, and that was wood. I've cut that out because I didn't want to be cutting into a 10mm thick piece of timber to insert a door. So we've cut that, refitted it with plastic, put the door in, but again, a long way to go with these as yet. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention. This will be the main sawmill. Now, I've found a company who I can buy sawmill machines from. And somebody in my comments, when I first mentioned doing this project, had said about it would be good to be able to see the machines inside. And I agree, 100%. In our main sawmill, we had an entrance at the back and we had one on the end. So timber would flow in at this end, get done what it's going to get done, come out of there, and then go to storage or manufacturing, depending on what was going to happen. So we are going to be seeing some kind of machinery inside that. And then there was this, which if you remember, was only that big. So basically all we've done is we've took this entire side off and replaced it with just a piece of card, and I put another one on the bottom to pick up these bottom columns and added it in. So this is at the length I need now for the loco that's going to sit inside of this timber yard. And I'm working on the premise of the owner of the timber yard loves locos and absolutely adores his little steam engine he's got, and looks after it, so he wants it under cover when it's not in use. So again, a long way to go. I've painted the windows, I painted the surrounds green because the windows are. We've got things on here where I'm guessing there used to be doors that kind of hooked on. So I've got some pieces of timber that look like boards. So I'm going to look at making a couple of doors and figure out how we can fit these things on so we can have doors that will open and close. We're going to put some kind of a fan in there. It is going to get dressed with the same paper from the little house. Not sure what I'm doing with the inside yet, early days. So, that's that. Right. Now don't laugh. I know it looks like Thomas the Tank, and I know you can see it right there. It's not meant to be Thomas the Tank, but it's the colour that we chose. Bear in mind that this whole thing is going to be named Mitchell's Timber Yard. So, you saw this before, where I'd cut the front out. It's going to act as extra coal because it might do a few journeys, and he doesn't want to be in the engine. It was a tiny little coal hopper, but its main purpose will be to provide extra pickups because 040s don't do well on points. So we've got it in its colour. I wanted it in colour. I want to see what it looked like. I want to work out what, artwork is going to go on or whatever else, etc., etc. So, yeah, it is a little bit Thomas the Tank colour. Right, this is not the loco you saw originally. That was just a loco. This is a loco in shell. No engine in it at all, but that's not the issue. So, this is the colour we're going with. And as I said, it's working on the premise of the guy who owns the yard loves steam engines, so therefore he'll take very good care of his own. So what have we done so far? Right, well, the chassis is all working and fine, no issues with that. Got to pop a motor in. We've had to put buffers on the front end because there was none, hook and chain, pipe. We've done a little bit of decorative work, if I can get it in front of the camera, on the nose end. Just picked that up in silver. The main modification is this back end, as you can see. So it stopped here, okay? But I wanted it a little longer. It did have a little box on the back end. Well, it didn't, but it should have had a box on the back end for coal. So I've lengthened the roof and I've put these curved sides on each end with a walkway through to get into the trailer for the extra coke to fire it up. So we've still got people to put in it yet. motor, badging, etc. But it's a start. And then the only other thing that I really want to cover right now was we had one of these. We had one conflat, and I found another box of junk, and I found a second conflat. Now the only problem with these is they're very boring. They're very flat-sided. There's the hint of ribs on the roof, but what I want to do is using the same material or a smaller version of the materials I'm with the doors, is to put on here 2 wooden doors with all of the bracing and hinges coming off it on both sides, and then we'll have 2 conflats. I've got chassis for them. Now the chassis I mentioned about as for loads are these, so you can see this one was definitely a guard's van, because if you can make it out, we've got a lower rail here that they'd use to stand on. However, what I also have, which are exactly the same length, is these. So if you look at this end, this is a tender, or it was a tender. So we're going to take all of the scrap wagons that I've got and turn them into usable freight wagons. What else do I want to go through? Yeah, so I said about badging and what have you. I set about and I designed some badging for various parts, for anything I could think of at the time of printing. So you've seen me do this before. I can only do this if black will show up well. If it need white or anything else, I need to order transfers. But these work quite well, and I've used them a few times now. So I print my own. So we've got things here that will fit on the side of the loco. I've now decided I'm going to do a slightly smaller version to go around the back arches. This is for the water tank that will sit on. We've done that. Nice little water pipe with a little bit of detailing on it. And then we've got smoke box door numbers here. This here where it says MITCHELL is designed for that. Because if you look, it's got 4 panels and it'll perfectly fit in Mitchell's. So therefore, that's for that. These ones here, the smaller ones, tonnage ratings, some of which are bigger because I've decided I'm going to bring in a couple of longer trailers. And then made up, not real, made up freight numbers, which just got an MT, because obviously Mitchell's timber, and then just random numbers. So I've done, where did I get to with it? Up to 29. So I've got the option of 29 wagons, not that I'm going to use that many. So each one will get a Mitchell's badge in the centre, tonnage at one end, and its freight number on the other, just so it kind of looks right. All of the trailers will be in the blue with the black chassis. And I can, there's I said earlier about the little driver's office. That's why the front of it's painted white, so that shows up nice and easy. When it's on, I'll repaint the green around it. But yeah, so we're not got very far, but we've got bits done. So, yet again, question time. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you look at. Tell me what you would suggest with regards to loco, the conflats, the trailers, these 2 grey boxes, that, and even that in the corner. Because at the end of the day, I'm open to opinions and ideas. And who knows, I might get a couple of ideas that I might join together, because I like both of them and I think it's a good idea. So we'll next see you in 2 weeks. By then I will have made some progress on some of the stuff. The other important question, I think I asked it, should I have, I think I've got 18 wagons that I can run on that track plan that I mentioned. Should I have 18 or is it overkill? And the other thing is, before I forget, you have seen this before if you're a subscriber and you watch the channel. This is something I bought last year and it's still kicking around. It's been different colours and every one of them I've hated, and every time I've thought, where would I use it, where would I use it? So a question for you lot. If I'm bringing in some longer wagons, which means more weight, or if this timber yard needed 10 trailers, the little steam engine's probably going to suffer, so he's going to want a backup. He'll turn to this, I think. So this can then go in the blue and the black with the badging and everything else. But I don't know where I'd keep it on that track plan you've seen, unless again we cut down the amount of trailers we've got. Let me know your thoughts on this. Even if you think, well, why don't you use it on this, or do that, or do this? Because it's been 2 colours so far and I haven't liked either. And when I bought it, it was in British Rail blue. And it was ridiculous because it doesn't really look like anything. The closest I guess it'll come to is a 17, but this would be in the middle. So again, suggestions. Should I use it with this? Because I'm picking up all the damage broken, because as you can see, it's got damage, which I'm in the process of repairing. Should I use it in amongst this lot and have everything on this little thing as damaged, repaired, renovated, rebuilt, whatever? Or should we use it somewhere else for something else on the layout? So, that's all I've got to say on that matter. Nice and short and sweet for a change, instead of me blathering on for hours and hours. So, let me know your thoughts, please, folks. And then we'll, in 2 weeks' time, see where we've got to, see if there's any ideas that I've picked up, and see what stage we're at then. So that'll be part 2, because this is part 1. So, thanks to all the subscribers for staying with us and watching. Thank you to the new subscribers. We keep trickling along, picking them up, which is always nice. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye.